Hey friends, here we are back in my studio for another pour on this 24 by 36 canvas. Here are the colors I'm using today. I have this it's a phthalo green, but I added a little bit of white to it. And then next to that is some copper and red. And then next to that is some ice blue and a little bit of white. And then my white color here is Artist Loft Soft Body White. Now this little orange in the front I decided to add as Deco Art Americana Jack-o'-lantern orange. Then of course there's my dump paint, and that is Artist Loft Soft Body Black, an older version. So let's get started here in just a second. I'm reusing an old canvas. Let's start off by saying hello. And there we are. Hey. So I'm going to do a colander pour today. I like the way that sort of mixes the paints and creates some very interesting patterns as well as some cells. So instead of pouring all the colors one at a time, I sort of started layering them, one after the other. Now, first of all, I'm mixing up my paints because I want to make sure they are as smooth and didn't settle any while I was sitting there before I got started here. So there I am mixing up the blue. And for typical, I do start with white because I think putting white on the bottom, again, helps with those paints that are semi-transparent and transparent to sort of show up and brighten up. So the next color I'm going to go for is it's a phthalo green, but it's got some blue in it. It looks similar to the color I used the other day in my other pour. So I paired this together with the blue because they're so close on the color wheel as well. And I just thought they might look good, and the blue might also help with the green. And then I poured sort of that rusty color on top of the blue. I'll typically do that. I don't think I would do that next to the green because it might make it a little bit more muddy. So I did it next to the blue, as blue and red are next to each other on the color wheel. Oh, interesting thing, I just remembered when I was pausing here, I found a lump in my red, and I was like, oh man. So I quickly strained it and poured the rest of it in. And thankfully it didn't mess up my composition or how I poured it later when I was tilting it, because I saw the lump and I made it go over the edge, which was great. So put some white in there to kind of brighten things up again. We'll go back with the green. You can see at this point the sort of the puddle inside of the colander is thick, so the paint will sink. And friends, there we have it. Okay, now comes the fun part. I know it doesn't look very pretty sometimes when you lift it up, but that doesn't matter to me because what's going to happen is all that color is going to create some very interesting cells, which you'll see on the wet walkthrough as well as the dry walkthrough. So at this point, I was just hoping that clump that I saw that came out of the cup stayed in the colander. But like I said, it didn't, and I found it, thankfully, before it created some headaches for me in doing this pour. So I'm mixing up the black, just making sure it's all stirred in. And we're going to slowly pour it in the middle. Now you see how it sinks, which I love, because what happens is that my negative space is going to be smaller at this point because it sank. If this makes any sense, it sank and some of the color came up. So you'll have to watch and see what you think when I do the time lapse. So now it's time to tilt, say a little prayer. Remember, getting your black paint over the color is important. Tilting it back a little bit over the next edge. And then we got a long way to go to get it over. I think on larger canvases, why this works so well is because you're really stretching out that black paint. And it allows the color underneath to come through. And that's what you want. You want these cells or these pearls. So when I put it down, I was thinking, yes, I've got some reaction. This is exactly what I was looking for. Move it around. I tap it a little bit to get some of the bubbles up because that will help bring up the color. And I'm just checking my edges. Probably wiping off my hands at this point. So I am going to pause here. I'm going to add a little bit of music, and you can watch how the rest of this develops. And stay tuned to the wet and dry results. Hey friends, it's Dwight. I'm back here for my initial wet walkthrough. I will show you how this dries. But I just wanted to show you the interesting cells, the pearls, whatever you want to call them. It really took over. It's hard to see the detail unless you move in closely. But I decided to do a colander pour because I like the movement with the green. I wasn't expecting the green to be so sort of bright in this painting, but it seems like I lost the blue. A little bit of blue in there. Let me get a little better focus. But then the orange came through, which I only used about 3 ounces of orange, which I thought was interesting. As you can see, look at those interesting cells. Negative space looks good. I really don't think much more is going to happen. I can just tell because of the nice little cells in the negative space. Let me walk down to the other side. I don't trip on some paint bottles. See, just very interesting. And the orange is really fascinating. Cool beans, guys. That was fun. Big old dump and swirl. This is a 24 by 36 canvas. And there's reflection of my ceiling. There's the edge. Some really cool cells. Okie doke. Okay, friends, we'll see you real soon. I'll let this dry, and in just a few moments here, I'll show you the dried results. Okay, guys, here I am with the dried results. It looked just the same as it did when it was wet. Everything turned out really nice. Cells, the color, the negative space, the orange stayed, the nice blue and green. So yeah, just wanted to show you quickly what the dried results look like. Okie doke. So guys, listen, you have a great start to your week, and we'll catch up with you real soon.